Hi friends, my name is Tris, and this is No Boilerplate, where I focus on fast, technical videos. When people ask me what I do for a living, I usually say writer. I spend basically all my time either writing these videos, writing code, writing my fiction podcasts, or writing music. Over the years of tweaking my writing environment, I've noticed a subtle change. Every improvement to my writing systems improves my ability to think and reason about my work and my life. Looking into the psychology, it's actually quite simple. Increasing the bandwidth between our mind in our brain and our mind on the page simply allows us to think faster and better, according to the extended mind thesis. And it turns out that in a very real way, writing is thinking. I dedicate my video scripts to the public domain. Everything you see here, script links and images, are part of a markdown document available freely on my website and on GitHub at the above address. Part 1. Writing is thinking. To illustrate my core realization, let us consider the SpeakWrite. This is a device created in the book 1984 by George Orwell. It's a sort of dictaphone that immediately prints your words onto the page, predating by 50 years the actual tech that became widely accessible in the 90s. In Winston Smith's world of Big Brother, literacy was going extinct, and most people only wrote for themselves using the SpeakWrite, if at all. Though this narrative in the book principally laments the loss of literacy, a more subtle effect was that reliance on the SpeakWrite caused the population to lose their ability to think and reason on paper. In the book, when Winston tried to write his thoughts, they came out in this muddled, unfiltered rush. To my mind, this is little different than if he had spoken them. No editing, no reflection, no improvement. Cathartic, very. Thoughtful, less so. Winston could still write using the SpeakWrite, but he couldn't edit. And because he couldn't edit what he wrote, to marshal his thoughts on the page, he was less able to organize, plan, or simply think clearly. To me, the SpeakWrite isn't dystopian because it made the people forget how to write. It's dystopian because it made the people forget how to think. Now, it is certainly possible to think without the framework of language, or to edit your named thoughts verbally. Indeed, a vital part of these videos is speaking my written script out into an empty room, hearing my words bounce off the walls and into my ears to check how they sound. But for me, this is more for performance than pondering. It is not a contentious take to say that writing propelled our advancement as a species. Throughout history, a common trait that unifies lords, church leaders, kings and enslavers, but I repeat myself, is that they were all afraid of a literate population. Because a literate population might begin to think. Part 2. Writing is editing. If you pay attention to someone who is writing, wherever they are, from Starbucks to the library, you will find that most of the time they are not actually typing. Mostly when we are writing, we're not using the keyboard. We're clicking around our text, moving words, cutting and pasting here and there, or deleting whole paragraphs. Contrary to the common myth, the problem with our computers being lumbered with the legacy of the typewriter is not that the QWERTY layout was designed to slow us down. I find this unlikely for two main reasons. One, you can type typewriter using only the top letter row. And two, the home row is in almost perfect alphabetical order. Clearly, this doesn't make for a marvelous ergonomic layout, but it also strikes me that it wasn't designed by anyone for anything. Stuff just happens, you know? And after you've shipped a few thousand units and the copycats are making their own versions, before you know it, you've accidentally created a standard without intending to. It's not designed to slow you down, but more importantly, it's also not designed for editing. How could it be? You can't edit on a typewriter. Whiteout doesn't count. Editing text is the killer app that our modern computing is built on. Word processors are for processing words, not simply typing them. That's why they're so much better for writing than the typewriter. With computers, we've got this superpower, where words and letters can be rearranged without using whiteout or reprinting the page. Marvelous. But wait. This list of common editing hotkeys is quite short. Is this all the editing we can do with the keyboard? These 7 things? Yes, there are some other application-specific methods, but they're mostly non-standard. Isn't there something better? There's only like 3 modifiers, and they're all the way at the edge of the keyboard, suggesting they're to be used infrequently. When you press a letter on the keyboard, the character doesn't need to appear on the screen, right? Surely we didn't luck out with the typewriter and call it a day on progress. I find this all weird because in natural language, letters don't exist. I know it's hard to hear, and I'm sorry you had to learn it from me. Language starts in speech, in sound, and so do our externalized ideas and thoughts. Editing by letters is extremely unnatural. We've inherited this character-based editing method as a legacy of the printing press and typewriters, which is extremely ill-suited to our nature. This all begs the question, if most writing is rewriting, why isn't there a dedicated editing mode on our keyboards? Well, it turns out there actually is. I had to cut for time a more personal section about how I relate playing music to Vim editing, as well as a bit of history about the program that started it all. This full video available to everyone who supports me on my Patreon. It's just me running this channel, and I'm so grateful for everyone for supporting me on this wild adventure. If you'd like to see and give feedback on my videos up to a week early, as well as get private Discord access and even your name in the credits, it would be very kind of you to check my Patreon. I'm also offering a limited number of mentoring slots. If you'd like one-to-one tuition on personal organization, Rust, creative production, web tech, or anything that I talk about in my videos, do sign up and let's chat. Part 3. Editing is thinking. I hope I have shown that if writing is thinking and writing is mostly editing, then perhaps it's actually editing that is mostly thinking. I propose that using software and hardware that is optimized for writing, not editing, is slowing down our thinking. So we must speed it up. But how? Luckily, there is a solution for this from the computer science world, a secret editing mode you can use to step back into a higher level of consciousness just by pressing the escape key. This editing mode is called command mode, and it's available in nearly every program in some form, or there is a plugin enabling it. The feature or plugins to look for will all be called something like Vim Mode or Vim Motions. Google it, you'll find them for all your programs and apps. It's like the rest of the world is in insert mode, the regular typing mode all other apps are stuck with, but we can escape to this better world hidden in plain sight. Vim Motions were originally popularized in the text editor of the same name, but it has escaped that nerdy walled garden to every other program and web app in the world. This mode that was designed to overcome the technical limitations of early computer terminals has features that on the surface are unintuitive, but if you let your fingers guide you, you will find they are extremely natural. Let us consider the most basic example. Why are the arrow keys in Vim H, J, K, and L? Technically, it's because they were designed for a time when not all keyboards had arrow keys, but that's not the coolest reason. They could have been anything, but H, J, K, and L were chosen, and here's why. Vim motions are designed around the human body in a fundamental way. What seems on first glance like a random assortment of only partially mnemonic keys comes into clear focus when you consider not just what the letter of the key is, but where it is in relation to the hands above it. When you open a text file, the very first thing you'll want to do is read it, scrolling down the page as you do so. The down arrow is the very first operation you need to do. Where is it on a normal keyboard? So far away from the home row. Vim is designed for touch typists. We're navigating by touching the keyboard, not with our eyes. And what QWERTY key is under the strongest finger of the hand that is dominant for most of the world? J, the key that is the down arrow in Vim. This is a sort of orthopedic optimized human-computer interface, one where the machine is bent to fit the person, not the other way around. So, you've moved around the document, now let's edit at the speed of thought. Delete that word, delete these 3 words, lose that whole sentence, move these 3 paragraphs to the next section. Vim motions are this mini editing language, replicating what you and I would say if we were editing a document together. In this easy-to-learn language, you type an operator, like D for delete, then an optional number of repetitions, then a motion, like W for word. There are so many operators and motions you can compose together in this powerful mini-language, all using the same format. Operator, count, motion. You can learn as many or as few operators and motions as you like, and compose them in ways that make most sense in your workflow. With Vim Mode enabled in your word processor, text editor, or web browser, these simple edits and far, far more can all be made without taking your hands off the keyboard. It's like, have you ever seen a professional RTS player at a tournament? They're not playing StarCraft like you or I do. If you look closely, they're hardly using their mouse at all, and when they do, they never click any buttons on screen. All interactions with the UI, like building new units or researching the tech tree, or even switching the camera to focus on different areas of the battlefield, are done with the keyboard. In the esports world, this is called micro, short for micromanagement. They do this because at the professional level, the main differentiator between these elite gamers is not the strategies they use, anyone can look those up, but how fast they can execute them. Using Vim Motions is to editing with your mouse, as RTS Micro is to playing the game only by clicking. What I'm trying to say here is that if you feel like you're constantly getting zerg-rushed by life, it might be time to try learning Vim Motions. Like you, I don't just use my computer to type text. I write music, edit video, browse the web, and do 1,000 other tasks. If this editing superpower didn't follow me across my whole digital life, it wouldn't work for me, for one very important reason. Popularity matters. Right, I'm banging the popularity drum again. Have you bought the t-shirt yet? Noboilerplate.org. It's the same reason I'm excited by Obsidian, the same reason I'm excited by Rust, the same reason the Steam Deck solved gaming on Linux. Popularity matters. If you're bouncing between 10 applications with different hotkey systems, you'll never develop the muscle memory to become a virtuoso. Vim hotkeys are everywhere, so you can use the same advanced system inside your browser, Gmail, Yahoo, Hotmail, even Hey.com, email for autists, Microsoft Word and Google Docs with the Vim plugin, Trello and Jira, VS Code, IntelliJ, every IDE. The editor wars are over. Emacs has Vim motions built in. Even my video editor Reaper has a Vim plugin. I'm using it right now. If Obsidian didn't have a Vim mode, I wouldn't even have considered it as a serious place to host my second brain. And as a result, I may never have made this channel. That doesn't bear thinking about. This fluent hotkey interface doesn't just help me get my work done twice as fast. I wouldn't be here raving about it if it was simply a productivity hack. It's like the Bechdel test. A movie that passes the test need not be a feminist masterpiece. This represents the bare minimum. The bar is so low, it's practically a tripping hazard in hell, but here you are, as they say, limbo dancing with the devil. It's the same with Vim bindings. An application that has them need not be a good app. It represents the bare minimum for me to take it seriously. Over the years, I've come to realize Vim bindings are a mark of good design. If professionals use your software, there will eventually be a Vim mode for it, either first party due to the volume of user requests, or the community will make one happen with a plugin or extension. Without wishing to get too deep, it's difficult to miss something that you've never experienced. This is often illustrated by Plato's allegory of the cave, but I am not a philosopher. I am but a humble DJ/webmaster. In programming, we talk about the blub paradox, where people who have learned a lower level language can't imagine why they would need the features of a higher level one. Iterators, says the C programmer, what's wrong with the for loop? Functions, says the basic programmer, go-tos have worked fine for me for years. Go-tos, says the assembly programmer, just stick some bytes in memory and jump there. And of course, as we all know, real programmers use butterflies. I would like you to trust me and try learning Vim motions for yourself. It'll take you 5 minutes to replicate the 7 hotkeys you already know, and after then, there is no upper limit on how powerful you may become. I've included lots of links to games and tips for learning Vim motions in the description of this video, and will add more as they are suggested to me. Remember why we're doing all this. Speed up your editing, speed up your thinking. Thank you. If you would like to support my channel, get early ad-free and tracking-free videos, your name in the credits, or one-to-one mentoring, head to my Patreon or Ko-fi. If you're interested in transhumanism and hope punk, please check out my weekly sci-fi audio fiction podcast, Lost Terminal, now in Season 19. Season 3 of the Phosphine Catalogue is coming soon. If you like mysteries and art, check it out. Transcripts and compile checked markdown source code are available on namtao.com and GitHub, links in the description, and corrections are in the pinned ERRATA comment. Thank you so much for watching. Talk to you on Discord.